More folks will be coming in, but we got a nice posse to get started with, so that's good. If you can be on camera, that would be great. If you cannot, I understand. This event is being recorded, so that might be why some people want to not be on camera, but I hope some people feel comfortable to be. I want to say hello to everybody. My name is Samsara Morgan. I'm the Executive Director of the Oakland Better Birth Foundation, and I want to welcome everyone who's here and everybody who will see this recording in the future to our 6th annual Oakland Breastfeeding Festival. Yay! Um, this event is actually the baby of myself and beautiful Ms. Laura Cox, who's there. Um, we were very much involved in the latch on programs that were going on all over the world really in August. Um, and those programs were great, but then formula companies started getting all involved in it and sponsoring the program. Very big formula companies got involved and started uh, giving them all this wonderful merch and doing all this stuff and their little packets of formula at breastfeeding events. So my friend Laura and I, we had some problems with that. And what evolved is a whole new program with an emphasis on all people, an emphasis on all ways that people give milk to their beautiful human babies. And it was laid back, beautiful in Oakland, right by the lake. And so I'm very happy to have birthed this child with Laura and to want to publicly give her the love that I always give her for all the years that she helped supported me when I was running a program for Alameda County, taking care of young mamas who were aging out of the foster care system. And she gave hours and hours and hours of lactation support to those mamas. And to this day, these young mamas now in their 20s ask, how's Miss Laura doing? So she's a wonderful friend personally and a wonderful ally to birthing people and lactating people of all colors. And I want to always honor her. So what we should start with, I think, I can say more stuff later. Let us start with a beautiful opening song given to us by our friend, our artist, and birth worker, Betsy Rose. Take it away, Betsy.
Thanks so much. Hi, everybody. This is really great. I'm glad to meet all of you. My people, with my people, it feels good. Um, just a little intro. I've been a performing singer-songwriter since I was in my teens. And at the ripe age of about 68, I got it in my head to become a doula, which was sort of one of those lurking things way in the background, that what just popped forward and said, now's the time. So in the last year, I've trained to be a doula with Cornerstone doula training. Yeah, and I've been yeah, awesome, awesome folks. And I've been volunteering at San Francisco General, which has been amazing. And then, of course, that all got shut down from COVID. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate the I love the visual feedback. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so I've been kind of bereft. I've been kind of bereft because that was where I was able to do the work that I so love to do. So I'm a little betwixt and between now. And anyway, it's a pleasure to bring this song to you. This is a song I wrote 28 years ago when my son was a little itty bitty. And I was working with La Leche League, not working, but singing with. I used to sing at La Leche League conferences and midwifery conferences because I was writing all these songs about birth and attachment parenting and all that great stuff, and Ina May Gaskin and the whole nine. So so this is the song. It's called Mama's Milk. There's a couple things that are a little outdated in it. I think one is that there was a reference to La Leche in it, and I took that out and put doula in just because that felt more current to me right now. And also, there's this little phrase about the advice from the doula back then being, "Have you tried cutting out dairy and spice?" Because the baby's crying and crying. And that was the common wisdom then, but I understand that's not quite as as recommended anymore, that it's kind of eat everything and your baby will figure it out. Laura's giving me the nods. Thank you, Laura. You're really helping me with this.
She's
So
fond of
anyway,
information.
all that aside, here is the song, and the chorus is really singable. I'm going to get you singing, okay? You came on the scene, blinked at the light, took your first breath, you were doing all right. A blanket above you, my tummy below. You open your mouth, next thing you know, you're getting mama's milk, mama's milk. First thing you tasted was mama's milk, mama's milk, mama's milk. Oh, nothing does you better than mama's milk. And that's the sing-along part is mama's milk, mama's milk. Nothing does you better than mama's milk. See, just give it a try. I love Zoom because you can sing in the privacy of your own home. You don't have to be on pitch. You don't have to get the words right. You do have to be muted though, because otherwise it really messes Zoom up. So anyway, so give it a shot. Here we go. Mama's milk, mama's milk. Nothing does you better. Nothing does you better than mama's milk. That's going to come around again several times. We bundled you up, carried you home, held you all night, you were never alone. We fumbled a bit, we were nervous and new, but every time you whimpered, we knew what to do. We gave you mama's milk, mama's milk. When in doubt, we gave you mama's milk. Everybody, mama's milk, mama's milk. Nothing does you better than mama's milk. Then things got rough, you cried night after night. I called up my doula, am I doing it right? I need womanly wisdom, a sister's advice. She said, have you tried cutting out the dairy and spice? And are you getting too tired, moving too fast? You gotta slow down, mama. It's your time to relax. Crawl into bed with baby. You need some support. Drink another pitcher. Soon you're making quarts of that mama's milk, mama's milk. It takes a lot of energy to make that milk. Everybody, mama's milk, mama's milk. Nothing does you better than mama's milk. So whether it's Berkeley or Bangladesh, Nairobi, Muskogee, or Marrakesh, there's nothing in a bottle, a package, or a can improves on the quality of nature's brand. Mama's milk, oh yeah. Babies round the world need mama's milk. Everybody, mama's milk, mama's milk. Nothing does you better than mama's milk. So if it comes from the stable, no. If it comes with a label, just say no. But if it comes from the source, it's all natural, of course. In a container that's a pillow of silk. We're talking mama's perfect nutrition, immune enhancing. Baby's first choice is mama's milk. It's so good.
Girl, that was something.
Yeah, that was something.
Love that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That is wonderful. I was looking at you and looking down and seeing Tanitha Kamara, our wonderful ILBLC with her beautiful newborn, her brand new, fresh from the oven child. Let us worship this beautiful child. Oh my gosh. So happy for you to be here. Congratulations. What a cutie. So we're going to have a poem And where are you, Akila? There you are. I see your face now.
Hey,
Yay.
are you ready?
Yep, ready for you.
Okay. Okay. Hey everybody, thank you. I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but thank you for the Mama's Milk song. That was really cute. I like it. I gotta get your information. My name is Aquila Lewis Ross. I am an award-winning spoken word artist, author of a book called Stop Hurting and Dance, and a journalist. I'm doing freelancing still for the Bay Area. Right now, I'm in Las Vegas. Our family was pushed out to Las Vegas a month before COVID hit, and it's been an experience in my life. Right now, we're at a water park, and that was definitely something I had to force myself to do. I've been dealing with some depression and a lot of other stuff just because my life story keeps on changing, and I feel like I'm not able to really be the author of the story the way I want to. um, I'm gonna start real quick before I do the poem. So I I know that they say that you should have a birth plan, but sometimes the birth plan doesn't work out either. And my story happened. My birth story was really hard to kind of explain. I still don't understand it. My daughter will be 3 next month, but I still can remember that 5-day labor that I endured in order to get her to come to this crazy world that we're living in. I wanted to have my birth at a birth center because I thought that that was would be a really awesome story. But unfortunately, the baby decided to poop inside my stomach, and I had that meconium situation, and I was rushed to SF General, which is what I really didn't want to do. I didn't want to be in a hospital. I heard so many stories, horror stories about Black women dying, and I really didn't want to die. And then also being a survivor of sexual violence, I didn't want nobody touching me. But at the SF General, and I really didn't know what SF General was all about. It was nothing but students and people. So many people are touching me. I'm still traumatized by the whole ordeal, and I really wish I could erase that part of the story, but it was still a miracle to have my daughter come the way she came. I think another thing I want to add to my whole part of who I am, I'm an activist, and I'm trying to figure out how to be a mama activist to a really 3-year-old, to a little 3-year-old little girl. I definitely don't want her to be a part of these violent, the protests are supposed to be peaceful, but they're coming violent. I don't want her life taken. So I'm struggling right now, just trying to figure out the next part of the journey. I'm getting ready to turn off my video so I can go get my poems, which are in my Google Drive. I apologize for that, y'all. And so I've been writing poems ever since I was young, but in 2010, I decided I wanted to rewrite my story. And I didn't want to have a story that was riddled in shame and I wanted to not be a victim. So I'm a survivor, and I'm a thriving survivor. Been through a lot. Yesterday, one of the actors that I really consider a superhero, not just because he played Black Panther, but because he really embodied what I feel we all should, the spirit and the courage that we all should have. I'm going to share with you this poem that I wrote. It's going to go into another poem. My poems are really short, so I'm going to do it really quickly. This poem is called Hello, My Name is Courage. How do you smile after so many deaths when innocent loved ones are murdered in their homes, in their beds, seeking rest from the day before? How do you smile after so many deaths, murdered by them boys in blue, kneeled down on necks, bodies beaten black and blue, over $20? How many times did the innocent have to scream, I can't breathe. When will the innocent be heard? And in times like these, poetic verse bandages peel off too easy. It can't change actions passed down 400 years later. Ancestors speak. My mama instinct has been triggered, so naturally I provide shelter. My babies have learned to duck and cover under eagle's wings. It takes courage to smile. After all the deaths, I've forgotten how. It sometimes hurts to try. No amount of therapy sessions can help me remember why I should. Because I refuse to smile until justice is served. That poem is called My Name is Courage. The next one is called Give an Artist a Canvas. And this is from a prompt that I did called Paint. Give an artist a canvas and free them to create as they please. Practice makes perfect. My body was a canvas, at first to be used to harm. Sails held on to pain from generations past. Ancestors spoke truth to power in and through me. It glowed from within. Became my protection, adding another layer of gray-haired wisdom. Paint me gold, carrying riches buried and treasures never opened. See the key? Rich people always hide it in unattainable places. Paint me liquefied, fluid as water, blue-green like the ocean, a favorite color, peaceful, tranquil. I could stay here until pruning no longer is beautiful on skin. Saw a post about a mama who made rainbow spaghetti for dinner. Wish I were that creative or had the energy to be so dedicated. But I would do anything to see my little princess smile. Paint me rainbow. May I shine bright for all to see. Thank you, everyone.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Aquila. So beautiful.
No problem. God bless all of you guys on your journeys. I know right now, this time, it's really hard to understand. Maybe it isn't. The ancestors are speaking. You gotta listen because they're telling you exactly what to do. Thank you so much, Samsara. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the story.
To you.
Have lots to tell. If you're interested, I'll give you my information about my book, Stop Hurting and Dance. God bless you.
Yes. Text that to us, honey. Send us a message about that so we know about you and what you're doing. And I love you. So that is you just might as well claim her. Like, she's just our poetess. That's just it. She's OBBF's poetess. That's what she does. Always beautiful and powerful words. So I want to thank her. And our next presenter up is my most excellent Mika Cade. She gets to introduce herself. I get to say I love her a lot. And she's the education coordinator for OBBF. She's an amazing mama and partner and human being. And she's going to talk to us about the importance of nutrition and how we teach nutrition to our clients.
So my name is Mika Cade, and I am a doula, and I am Samsara's assistant and the educational coordinator for Oakland Better Birth Foundation. And I do have two kids. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. I nursed both of my kids till they were 4 years old each, and so I did do some tandem nursing as well. So I love talking about breastfeeding. One of the big surprises for me when I first started nursing was just how hungry I was. You know, I was one of those people where eating during pregnancy was a little bit more challenging for me. And then I started nursing, and all I wanted to ever do was eat while I was nursing. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today and what that might look like for you. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen with you. One second here. So we teach as our doulas, our Shifra Circle doulas, which is part of Oakland Better Birth Foundation, teach a kind of a way of thinking about nutrition that really encompasses the macro and micronutrients that you need. And it's called 5-finger eating. And 5-finger eating was developed by midwife Valerie Alhalta. And it's an easy way to, again, to make sure you're getting those macro and micronutrients. And so we talk about this during pregnancy. It's also super important postpartum. And first I want to say that, like, no matter what, no matter how you're eating, like, breast milk is the biological norm for your baby and for yourself postpartum in your own healing. And if you are able to eat nutritionally dense foods that we're going to kind of talk about here, that I guarantee you will feel better. You will have more energy. Your body will be able to do that deep cellular tissue repair that it needs to do for you to fully heal from your birth experience and from pregnancy. So no matter what, breastfeeding is wonderful. This isn't about shaming anyone for what they're eating. There is a lot of old advice about things that you should restrict and stay away from. That's not what this is about. And in fact, most traditional postpartum food traditions around the world encompass this model of nutrition that we're going to talk about. So this is about food that is in every culture and every tradition. So it's called 5-finger eating because you're going to think about this as like 3 meals a day. That might be meals and 2 or 3 snacks, especially if you are nursing postpartum. Definitely, if you're nursing postpartum, you want to have snacks by the side of your bed or wherever you're nursing. You want to have water. You want to have warm things to drink. So ginger tea is wonderful, things like that. Lemon water if you have a hard time drinking regular water. So you want to have all that around. But 5-finger eating, we're going to go over what each finger stands for. Okay. And the idea is that the center of your palm is like a serving size about. So if you're a little bit bigger, your palm's a little bit bigger. If you're a little bit smaller, your palm's a little bit smaller. It's a perfect serving size for you. So the first item on that list is protein. So I guess I should actually say that postpartum, when you are nursing, you're actually burning more calories than you did at the end of your pregnancy when you were burning the most calories as a pregnant person. So you're burning even more calories postpartum. So the goal here is to get about 100 grams of protein a day in that postpartum, in that immediate postpartum time when you're breastfeeding. For postpartum folks, you need that protein to enrich your milk, right? Your baby is going to be doing a lot of growing at that time and needs that protein. You need that protein for your own healing and regeneration in your body, for your energy, right? There are a lot of ways that we can't really control those pieces around our energy postpartum. Like your sleep is not gonna be the same as it was prenatally, right? And that can be really exhausting and tiring. But if you have a good amount of protein on hand, it is going to help you sustain yourself during that new cycle of sleep that you're experiencing in that immediate postpartum period. Protein can come from meat, fish, eggs, beans, nut butters, dairy. There are so many different types of protein. You can have protein as, making sure you have maybe some nut butter and side of your bed, or hard-boiled eggs just ready to go so you can just grab hungry. Because here's the deal, when you're nursing.
Please stop for a minute. Hello. If you're not speaking, could you mute your computer, folks? Go ahead, Mika.
So you're gonna, like, when you are that ravenous and hungry, right after a nursing session, you are gonna go for whatever is the first thing you see because you need to eat now, right? That's how it feels. And so setting yourself up with having those things that are just easy to grab, that are nutritionally dense, like hard-boiled eggs, like nut butters, like, you know, if you have just some meat or beans on hand, have them close by so you can eat those. So now we're on to green leafy vegetables. So we have 100 grams of protein a day. We have green leafy vegetables with each meal. Immediately postpartum and really through that first year postpartum, your body is healing. And you, and one of the big things that's healing is your digestive system. All of your intestines need to go back into place, right? And so that can sometimes make digestion a little funky at first. So getting a lot of fiber is really important, which you can get from those green leafy vegetables. It also helps you digest that protein. But in addition, you get all of these vitamins and nutrients that you need. So you have calcium for bone growth and development, magnesium, iron is huge, especially if you've had any kind of significant blood loss postpartum. Vitamin K helps with clotting factor, which babies do not develop until they are 8 days old. So these are some of those really important nutrients that are on hand in green leafy vegetables. It helps improve your circulation, and we know that for your own healing, especially if you have any tears after birth, or if you've had a belly birth, improving circulation helps cell regeneration and healing. It's super important. Some lovely green vegetables, wide variety. The third item on our list is whole grains. So whole grains give you that energy that you need to sustain yourself through multiple nursing sessions in the day. And especially like if your baby's having that growth spurt, woo, you're gonna want some of those whole grains on hand. We absorb those slower, so they give us that lasting long-term energy. And they also have, if we're talking about whole grains here, right? So, which have that fiber that you need for your digestion. Whole grain sources of whole grains, some sources of those are like brown rice, quinoa, actually quinoa, millet, amaranth, buckwheat are all seed-like grains that are quite easy for you to digest. There's bulgur, barley, oats, wide variety of whole grains that you can get and eat. And so like one of those like nice dense whole grain breads with some almond butter on top would be a great snack that would give you energy to sustain you for that time between napping sessions, between nursing sessions, all of that. Vitamin C is really important for immune health and immune support, which is really important postpartum while you are healing. And when I'm saying postpartum here, I'm really talking about that first year again, that first year postpartum. It helps repair soft tissue, which helps your wounds heal faster. If you have any kind of tearing postpartum. There's also the deep tissue healing that is happening that goes on through that first year. So this vitamin, having a good source of food-based vitamins will help with that. We know that you can get, right, everyone knows about like oranges and citrus fruits, right? But you can also get vitamin C from berries, grapes, cherries, kiwis, all kinds of fruits. You can also get it from things like bell peppers, which are nice in salads. If you squeeze some lemon juice on dark green leafy vegetables, let's say you have like a spinach salad with lemon juice on it, it actually helps you absorb more iron from the spinach. So it works together. Tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, beets, lots of also yummy veggies that have vitamin C in them as well. And then there's water. Number 5, water. You really want, you are going to really, likely you're going to really want some water when you're nursing a lot, because that's what you need to help you sustain your supply and not be totally dehydrated. So you always want to have water by the side of your bed, your chair, wherever you're nursing, you should have water next to you. Not only does it help with your production of breast milk, but it also helps with your digestion. Again, digestion can be a little funky postpartum, and that you need that fiber. But in order for that fiber to move through you, you need to have a good amount of water on hand. You might also be sweating a lot postpartum, and you need again, water to help with that. You should think about drinking about 10 cups of water a day, but really drink to thirst too. But if you're really drinking to thirst with water, you're likely to get about that 8 to 10 cups of water a day. Your color, the color of another way of checking to see if you're getting enough water is that your pee should be the color of like a light lemon juice. If it's dark yellow or kind of orange, then you need to have more water. And then we always give a thumbs up for fat. This is not a time to eat low fat food in particular. Like eat all the yummy, good full fat yogurt, full fat dairy, olive oil, avocados, all that wonderful stuff. It helps remove dead cells from your body. It helps manage your moods, which is super important postpartum. Helps with brain function and energy. It helps you digest veggies. And most whole protein foods come with fat naturally. So if you think about an egg, the egg yolk is full of wonderful, yummy fat for you. The skin on chicken, marbled piece of steak, those all have that fat in it with it. Now, when we're talking about fat here too, we're talking about these healthy fats. So I would suggesting, staying away from canola oil and many of the vegetable oils, which tend to get rancid really fast and are more of a modern creation rather than how fat naturally produces itself. So olive oil is great. Avocado oil is great. Coconut oil is great. These are also a lot of times in traditional postpartum foods, the oils and the fats that are used. And that's the end of 5-finger eating.
Here you go.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna
take us off screen share.
Yeah, take us off screen share.
Big thank you for Mika.
Did you want me to ask?
Oh, yes, please.
Are there any questions for me right now? You're welcome to just unmute yourself and ask, or you can write in the chat, and if not, that's all right too. All right.
Oh, you guys are covered. So this is one of the most important things that I teach my beautiful doulas and that we share with our clients. So many of the concerns that folks have during pregnancy and then follows them into lactation has to do with nutrition, and very little is discussed with them about nutrition when they go in for their OB appointments. If you're seeing a midwife, she's going to be all on that, or he's going to be all on that. Midwives are all about nutrition because they're all about healthy, productive births for people. They're not relying on medication to get their work done for them, or surgery to get their work done for them. So this is a wonderful way to empower clients, to give them the information that they need, that they're not helpless, that they have a lot of input in how their pregnancies might unfold, how their labors and deliveries will unfold, and how breastfeeding will. The more natural, the more healthy we can have the entire experience be, the better off things will be. When you have a little baby that's born clear-eyed, and all a little newborn wants in life that's healthy and unmedicated, all that little being wants in life is to find mommy's booby and attach. That's their modus operandi. All we can do is mess that up. So this is one of the big tools we can give to families to help that process not get messed up, and to have it unfold the way it should for the vast majority of humans doing this process of giving human milk to their babies. So thank you, Mika.
Welcome.
You did a wonderful job. So our next speaker is going to be an amazing young woman that I met. I was doing an interview somewhere. So I meet the most wonderful people. I get asked by other people to sit in and get interviewed about things, and then I meet other wonderful people. And then I want you guys to know these wonderful people. And Ashley Wright is one of those people. Are you available to be on camera, Miss Ashley? There you are.
Yeah, we're good to go. Whenever.
Thumbs up on you. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, I was saying what a pleasure it was for me to meet you. I think was it Gina Gina was interviewing us for something. She was interviewing me.
Well, she was just having kind of like a group think and discussing what it is, kind of just being Black during the civil unrest, the police brutality, and doulas, and being in the hospital, etc.
Got it. And then you came on with your lovely self and blew me away. So I'm gonna just hand the mic over to you. Introduce yourself and say what you want to say.
Sweet. So, oh wait, I think I want to like blow. Do I have that option?
What option?
Big? Okay, whatever. All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Ashley Wright of Ms. Wright's Way. I am most popularly known as a badass breastfeeding, baby wearing, natural parenting, pole dancing, sex working mama, right? And I kind of became really big just as I was operating in oneness with how I approached breastfeeding and spread the breastfeeding love, which was in contrast to how when I started breastfeeding, the message was kind of like, let's desexualize the boob, let's separate mom and motherhood and womanhood. Let's try to be like, how can we show up in this space of nursing this baby and not feel like everybody, like we're doing something indecent. And then I came in the scene like, that's not my flow. And I think I feel the most sexy, I feel the most powerful, and I feel the most in oneness with myself and wholeness with myself if I don't have to compartmentalize myself or live up to anybody's comfort levels or have to separate myself to be okay. And then I had a couple of interviews as well when it came down to the pole dancing, because everyone was trying to figure out, how is this okay? How is this woman pole dancing, especially back in 2014 when it was still taboo, when I started pole dancing in 2008, where it was like, oh, you're a stripper, dirty hoe, but at the same time, you're this great mom. I don't think those two go together. So I kind of just really was pushing and shifting the narrative on how we see motherhood and how we see womanhood, and especially how we see Black single mothers, as well as encouraging women to be in complete wellness, as well as breastfeed their babies, because that is contribution to their overall wellness. So, ta-da! What I was brought here to talk about with this group in particular was about self-care and motherhood. And I am often asked to speak on that space, as many are watching me and they're like, how is it that she's living her best life with these 2 kids and she's single? And how does that show up with going into how we view self-care? And I really wanted to go into, can you guys still see me? Sorry, I'm like.
It's okay.
Okay. really wanted to talk about the little small things that I do that people don't talk about. Everyone always wants to say, oh, take the bath. Sometimes drop your kids off over at their parents' house or, you know, your friend's house. And all these things are cute, but they're very privileged statements. And we don't talk about that in terms of when we're talking about women of color who may be oftentimes single moms and underprivileged parents. So here's what I have done to really make sure like I'm feeling good often. And that includes breastfeeding, but it's got some extra tweaks and twerks to it that make sure that I am living my best life and supporting others to live their best life as well so that they continue the nursing relationship. I had breastfed my first child till she was 4.5 years old, and people were just like, what? You know, what is that? How? First thing is, I am really hardcore on telling mothers, honey, you do not have to breastfeed a 2-year-old on demand. So oftentimes we're like, breastfeed, breastfeed, breastfeed. Do it as well and as often and for as long as you and mother see fit. And then parents, I'm often getting them. I was like, how are you continuing so long? I'm wanting to wean my baby. Well, why do you want to wean your baby? And she's like, well, I've been breastfeeding like all day. Wants it all day. She wants to take it at night. I'm like, listen, night wean your baby and don't breastfeed your baby on demand. You breastfeed when you feel like it, and you'll actually continue to enjoy that relationship. And what does that look like? Well, for me, so Satori is 2. She turns 3 in October. By the time my kids were 2 years old, I remember them being night weaned around like 2.5. That means I am not giving any boob in the middle of the night. I don't care what's going on. Process as best as you can. You're sitting right here next to me, so I don't feel like you're crying it out in a room somewhere else, and you'll be okay. Take a deep breath. If anything, we introduce new like soothing techniques, which is rubbing their back. That seems to do it. It worked for my first one. It worked for the second one. It's like, oh, you want tickles on your back? I'm not going to give you the boob. I understand you're crying and it's making you sad. And sometimes self-care is just telling your kids, I get it. It's frustrating for me too. You know, like, so meet them in understanding that they're just adjusting as best as they can. You just rub their little back and say, yeah, I know. Life is hard, isn't it? You know, like sometimes it's just having that matter-of-fact conversation with your kid, and do not underestimate your children in doing so. They really can get it. They get it. Next, and also in that is like talking about when they can, like, hey, you can get the boob in the morning. I got you. First thing in the morning, you'll be good. And the part of the reason why I talk about like night weaning is because after a while, you get tired of waking up feeling like you're about to die. I mean, I literally, that first thing where you wake up like, because you're so dehydrated, right? Where that self-care is that water right by your bedside. That doesn't end. You know, like my eldest is about to be 8. That water by the bed does not end. That is an act of self-care. Get into it. Whether you need to put the lemon in there, you got to put your chlorophyll in there. You need to go ahead and put some strawberries in there. Do it. You got to decorate. You want to put your affirmation on the bottle. All those things add to having your best life. Sometimes I'd be like, and this is how I talk to myself, bitch, you are amazing. You know, so it'll have that right there plastered across my water bottle, my mirror. As soon as I get up, I'm like drinking all this amazingness. I don't care. Nobody tells me. All right. And that is to say, because we get so dehydrated in nursing. And so the more you can give yourself that water, and especially if you can make that water feel good, it's intentional, like I'm drinking this water, then that is an act of self-care. And you don't need to breastfeed all day. Your baby, I always tell them like, hey, sister, your baby is not about to die. He just had a whole sandwich a second ago. I'm telling you, she's good. Give her a little sippy sip of some water. And when you had your moment, you can go ahead and nurse. And they be like, I didn't know that. Girl, it's okay. Yes, take that time. You can say no. You can say no and feel good in saying that no, right? Shifting this idea around no's is often what I have to do in this natural parenting. I mean, there's a spectrum, right? You have the natural parent that's like milk out the cow, and then you have this like completely vegan, and then it's like I cloth diaper. Well, I cloth diaper sometimes, right? There's a huge like spectrum. There's levels to the crunchy shit. So when we talk about like the breastfeeding and the levels in that and taking care of yourself, I'm often telling them it's okay, you know, like, which leads into my second point. I do not eat with my children. And many people are like, what? I do not. I do not have meals with my kids. I am a single mother of 2. I'm not cutting up any extra pancakes than what I put on that table. No, you can't have none of my juice. I'm going to drink all of that, which I have on my plate, the same that's on your plate, and I'm going to have it over here. This is my time. I am very serious about my food, especially as a breastfeeding woman who's breastfeeding a toddler, who breastfed kids well until like they said, hey, mommy, can I have some booby? And I'm like, no, thank you, right? This is so integral, and it has changed mothers' lives. There are some cultural things of being able to eat together, which are absolutely fine. Have those moments when you want to, but also feel good in knowing that you cannot function if you are not having a good meal. That is the best thing you can do for yourself, is to take whatever time, especially if you're an attachment parent, you're at home parent, especially during this pandemic when you with your kids 24/7, and then you have the nerve to try to watch them while being on online school. Okay, you take your meal and you sit wherever you want to sit, and you let them know they cannot bother you during this time. It will change your life. Sit down, have your meal, take as long as you want to, drink that fluid that you didn't have to share with anybody else, that you don't even want to share that your same spit with them anyway. I can't stand kids spit in my drinks. And people are like, really? I'm like, yes, but listen, when you're in that space, rarely is there any need for correction. Rarely will you have to have that correction. Oftentimes when we have these parent-child dynamics and they tend to be estranged, it's because you find yourself having to say no all the time. Stop. I don't want to. Leave me alone. So if you take that time, because there's nothing wrong with mothers taking that time. We have to take that space. Take that space. And for me, it is eating alone. They are very well, I have boundaries around that. So by the time Satori could sit up, she was sitting, we don't have any high chairs because I didn't have time to buy another high chair. I was like, girl, you better get with the program. So she sits at the table with her sister, and they are right there eating away by themselves while I sit on the couch, because it's also my time to watch whatever adult show I want to watch, and whether that's breakfast, afternoon, snack, dinner, I sit there and I watch it. That means I'm watching Vampire Diaries, or I'm all the way down to Lovecraft Country, or I'm doing some weirdo adult shit that's mature. I'm doing it by myself with my meal, and it's like I'm at the movie theaters, and I have a great time. And then because of that, I'm like, I love my kids, right? Like after I have my nice meal, I feel good. I'm hydrated. I'm no longer compromising the quality of care for my children. Give me 1 second. My child has locked herself in my room with me.
Oh no.
Here, goodbye. Have a great time. Goodbye. So, that is something that I wanted to give you. This clutch, you take it, you feel good in it. Another thing about self-care in motherhood, especially as a breastfeeding mom, you're going to find yourself waking up pretty early. One thing I see Laura Cox putting up boundaries. Boundaries are so clutch. Which gets me back to my point about no, and it being okay to say no. Oftentimes in the natural parent community, or sometimes we talk about gentle parenting. And gentle parenting, they'll have this notion or this message that we cannot say no to our children, that we should redirect every time. No is not a bad thing. Frivolous no's is where we get into where it gets a little problematic, right? If we're just saying no, just as we say no all the time because we don't want to show up, that is a problem. If you're introducing no as a space for boundaries, that's important and it needs to happen. I'm very big on telling my mothers, people who are communicating with me, and then showing that as well, as you do not have to put on for your children. Putting on for your children or creating this facade that you are like this 24/7. Hi, baby. Oh, yes, I love you so much. And oh, of course I want to breastfeed you all night and all day. And I just want to die while doing it. Like, no, that's ridiculous. That is not real. Instagram will have you jacked up with that message all day. You are allowed to process and go through the full spectrum of emotion with your children. Not only is it self-care for you, because you now get to let these things come out as opposed to keeping them all in, but your child then is able to see you and adjust for you with you, and you can do so with your child. So that means you're not in the space where you're tired of putting on this facade and then you're lashing out, screaming, saying no, and just become a whole nother person where it can create spaces of trauma. We want to create and be more cognizant and put a conscious effort to separate trauma outside of our parenting. And we do that by being our most authentic, loving self, right? So saying no is in putting boundaries. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this to you. And you can explain that and let them be able to process as much as necessary. People are literally laughing at times because I'll go to the park and I have like a backpack and I have a bag here, and then I'm carrying, you know, a big jugs of water to go sit out in the sun with my kids. And Satori is about 50 feet behind me screaming. And they're like, what's going on, Satori? I said, she's processing as best she can that I will not carry her.
Yeah.
I won't. I'm not going to do it. And that she's not going to die. And when she realizes that I'm still not going to do it because I have to take care of myself and I'm not going to beat myself up, I'm dragging all this in 99-degree weather to sit on this tree, and she's more than capable to walk with me, because if it was any other time, I'd be like, where you going? Come back. Right? So if she needs to just process that, we'd have to be okay within ourselves and our full spectrum emotion to not be mad or tell a kid, shut up. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't cry. Get it together. Move forward. It's okay. I know it's hot for me too. So as soon as you want to just do for you and with your best self, with those beautiful 2 walking, perfectly able-bodied legs, we can get under the shade and feel good about ourselves. And not only once you get that I'm not coming to carry you, I will meet you with open arms on that same you've arrived, right? Like, welcome, we are here. And then we can continue to move on, because that is so important to take care of yourself so that we do not compromise the quality of care for our children. We cannot show up if we're not okay. I do not feel like I have to beat myself down to make sure that my kids are okay. My kids will always be okay as long as I'm okay. And I don't feel the need to have to like struggle with 50,000 bags to walk 10 feet. Sister, it's okay. So these are some of the tools that I want to give to mothers. It's that matter-of-fact peer counseling of letting mothers know that they have options to expand their ideas of wellness, right? And that it's not one cookie cutter set thing that limits them and has them feeling stuck because they can't see themselves. Another act of self-care for me in motherhood and breastfeeding is, because I'm getting up early, I have taken it, I do this as part of my practice of journaling. I call it morning pages. I get up and I write in my morning pages. We often tell mothers in pregnancy, like, you should start journaling, or you should start doing something. At first, we're like, I'm tired. I'm not doing none of that shit, right? We wake up, we have the baby. I'm still tired. I'm not doing none of that shit. And then stuff starts getting really real. And you're like, all right, I got to figure out how to do something. Something's got to happen for me to process all these emotions, especially if we're like, dealing with lots of prolactin, you know, or our circumstances are a little heavy. Like I want to feel sexier. I want to do all these things. Like, how can I do it? Start writing about it and start looking at it and start dedicating these things or start affirming yourself. This is acts of self-care. I literally have changed the way that I talk to myself internally and externally. And it's such a beautiful reflection when you're saying these things all the time out loud, to where your kids start affirming you all the time, especially my friends. Just the other day, because I'm super hyped. Like, I hype things up all the time because I love to receive that back. That's part of my love language. And my best friend, she loves moo-moos. She just lives in these moo-moos. And my kids, 8 and 2, they were talking on FaceTime and they said, Auntie Danny, did you get a new moo-moo? And she's like, no, I already had this one. It's cool. So then my little 2-year-old said, oh, Auntie Danny, get up and turn around. Turn around. So then Shannon's like, yes, right? Now you can imagine when I have these moments of my self-care, when it don't even be a new moo-moo. It just is like, I'm going to draw my eyebrows in today, or I'm going to put on a really pretty necklace today so I can feel something. Sometimes as mothers, we just need to feel something different to get us through the day, right? And that means if I want to go browse or want to put up a push-on bra with a wire because I want to live dangerously with these lactating boobs. You know, sometimes you just want to live dangerously. You need to put a wire on, knowing you might get mastitis, but who cares, because you're living for the moment. YOLO, right? And you just need to sit just a little higher today for you, right? Sometimes they just got to sit a little higher for you today. So you put one on, but imagine when you talk about to yourself this way and you're affirming yourself all the time and your kids are watching you affirm yourself. Next thing you know, you put this on, you come out, your kids are like, ooh, mommy, you look so pretty. You're like, I do that. At that moment, guess what? Oxytocin is flowing, dopamine is flowing. You might breastfeed 4 times that day because you're feeling so good. You didn't drink your water and then you don't want to mess it up. So now you got a straw, okay? And these things permeate throughout your day. They're such small things, but they will permeate throughout your day, every day, on to the next day. And then you'll start expanding on that. Like, you know what? I'm gonna put a bonnet on tonight, so I don't have to do my hair tomorrow. And it's gonna feel really good. I'm gonna actually take the extra time, the intentional moment to put this bonnet on tonight so I can be cuter in the morning. And I'm gonna take that time because you know what? I felt really good when I ate by myself. And actually, now I have the time and the space and the energy to show up and I play extra card game with my kids. You know, like, or you know what? I'm gonna cuddle them just a little longer today. Or, you know what? I put away 2 dishes. You know, I didn't do the whole sink, but I felt good about those 2 dishes, you know, like, and you start to congratulate yourself. It's shifting how we talk to ourselves as opposed to being stuck in limiting ourselves or fighting for our limitations, right? As mothers, we tend to fight for our limitations. We're like, I'm too tired. And granted, we are tired as fuck. Let me say that one more time. We are tired as fuck. And I speak this way, matter of fact, because I feel no need to coat this space. And I think that so many more of us mothers need to hear it like this so that we're actually having these transparent, vulnerable, intimate conversations that are like, girl, me too. You know, like, me too, sister. I hear you. I see you. I fucking get it. And so with that, let's move on to like another part of my self-care, because, you know, people are like, take that bath. Listen, I tried it, okay? I was tired of my kids playing with my bath water. I was tired of kids banging on the door. I was tired of my kids putting the fingers underneath. I was tired of them sliding toys underneath. It wasn't as relaxing as I wanted it to be. And granted, sometimes I'll do it all. And I put so much intention. I'll boil the herbs. I'll do everything. I mean, I got my sage, my Palo Santo. I got my Orishas. I'll have everything to have this intentional bath and be miserable in this bath, miserable until I just lean into, I'm like, all right, y'all can come talk to me. I mean, I thought I was going to have this lonely bath, but I guess y'all just going to sit here and just splash my flowers all around. That's fine. I guess this is what we're doing, right? And it's in that we can shift this idea of self-care, because especially if you're a single mom, that's how your herbal bath is going to look like most of the time, unless you put them down early. And God, you know, good for you if you can get them down on a schedule. That is, you are already doing big things. I am already bowing down to you. Breastfeeding parents, we already got hard times with these breastfeeding babies getting them on the schedule. And if you got them down to a schedule, you are killing the game, right? So part of that self-care is leaning into that space, right? And I'm telling my mother, sometimes it's okay to lean into that. It's okay to lean into the fact that you know, you're gonna be late to shit. Like, you're gonna be late, and I know it makes you feel like you're disappointing everybody. You're sick of disappointing yourself, and it doesn't make you feel good, and you start to feel unreliable. But it gets better. It does. Like, sometimes you're gonna, you know, you used to be late every time. Now you're just late 80% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is growth. We need to shift how we look at that. Girl, you made it. I remember when the time was 100% you were late all the time. Remember that time? Remember you couldn't get there. You weren't there, but now you made it, right? And so when we start shifting and leaning into that space, guess what? You feel good. And you deserve to feel good all the time. You deserve to be like, it's okay that I'm having this space, because in that now you can feel good about asking for help. And you can set the tone of how other people can show up for you, and how other people can hold space for you, and how other people, especially your friends without kids, ain't tripping on the fact that you're not doing ABC like you used to do. And, you know, the reality is it's just a lot to get into kids out the door. And then, you know, the time where now you have a car seat in your car, and you got to put the car seat on, take the car seat out, take the kid in. Then you got to put the chest clip up every time, because somehow we still ain't got seatbelts, the chest clip always got to come to, what we need to create something to keep the chest clip up, because I'm tired of, I'm like, I know I set the settings together to make this just go a little bit easier, and yet the chest clip is still down to the belly. So it's okay. It's all those little fine details, right? When we can start to lean into, like, it's okay, mom, you already arrived. That was something that was introduced to me during yoga. Yoga was a practice that I put in that gave me self-care. And I still can't handstand. I've been doing yoga since I was pregnant back in 2000. I still can't handstand. You might get a good bridge out of me. My headstands are fleeky, but pole dancing gave me, the core for that. But my practice is what it is when I get to it, and I feel good doing it, and I feel no need to meet somebody and be like, I'm the next yogi master. It is my practice that reminds me that I have arrived. There's no need to rush. I have arrived. And when that person said it to me, I was 40 weeks pregnant trying to do back bends in yoga because I was so miserable that I was going to yoga classes to try to prove something to everybody there, and it was a full-blown competition. Yes, I was a 40-week pregnant woman going to yoga class trying to prove to everybody I'm amazing, and I'm 40 weeks, and I'm about to do this back bend, and some of y'all still can't do a pigeon. And here, look at me going in competition, because I'm really just trying to project that I am insecure of myself right now, but none of y'all will know, because I'm about to make sure everybody's giving me all these faux compliments that's still not going to fix my issue, but you're going to give me this compliment anyway, right? So in that, the lady said, no need to rush, you are arrived. So now my pregnant 40-week self is thinking, I'm over here killing the game. I'm now boo-hooing over here in a corner somewhere, just crying, just a hot mess, right? Like, you're right, I don't need to do all of this. And that has something that I've introduced to every part of my life. No need to rush, I've already arrived. Ease and pleasure is your mantra. And I constantly tell my moms that ease and pleasure. And every time you're praying or you're asking for something, you're needing to manifest, be sure and clarity to include that it comes easy and pleasurable for you. You don't have to keep forcing and fighting and pushing and forcing and fighting. Sometimes it's okay to say, my children who are calling upon me are just giving me a moment of presence. They're calling for me to be present. And in that gift of presence, the mother will realize that it is she the one that's receiving the most out of that, right? These are just a few of my shares and my perspectives on how we as mothers can just tweak a little thing here, introduce something small. And it's not something like, oh, I need to have lots of money to go buy the newest manicure and pedicure or get my hair done, or I have to make sure I'm traveling and being some really great fly Instagram mommy with, or hey, I got a nanny, or hey, I dropped my kids off at my mom's house and now I'm just feeling like disconnected, and now I'm feeling even more afflicted at looking at these mothers with their kids all the time. No, and that's not everybody's space, and that's okay. It's okay to just be like, actually, what I did was I just didn't eat lunch with my kids, and my day was great. And it was amazing. Matter of fact, you know what I also did today? I ordered takeout, and I didn't pay for it because I created a meal train. Yep, that's what I did. I took all my baby shower money because I was like, don't y'all give me nothing. Give me a meal train. And you know what? And matter of fact, just give me gift cards to my favorite restaurant. And it's like, don't give me no extra swaddle. I don't need it, right? Don't give me any cute extra dress. And this time, like, have these baby showers where it actually gives you the things that you need, and get clear on the things that you need. And guess what, honey? Sometimes that's saying, look, village, a bitch need a therapist. Like, sometimes that's what that looks like. But that is the beauty of loving yourself so much that you can lean into saying, I need help. And it doesn't take away from your character. It doesn't take away how you see yourself. And that is where we need to go. We need to say, it is okay to ask for help. I want you to love on yourself so much that you can ask for help, and you can ask for the sophisticated support that you not only need, but you deserve. And so this is what I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to, say, this is me. This is not just something that I talk about, right? But it's part of who I am. And I want to give this information. So it's not just information that we all have, but it becomes part of who we are, which is this theme of this week of Black breastfeeding, which is to revive, restore, and reclaim. And I'm about having all of that. We need to take up space and be audacious in taking up space in our healing, in taking up space in our motherhood, especially as Black women who we have been stripped, taken from, oppressed. So we need to like claim all of it. And sometimes that a big fuck you sometimes needs to come out, right? So that we can say, no, this is where I am. This is what I'm going to do. You can either assist me sophisticatedly with the right type of support that comes from another Black woman, that comes from another Black doula, a Black midwife, a Black sister. Where are my peer counselors? And then that is the way that I can be seen, because I want to have this safe space. We need to take up to create more safe spaces. We need to revive our safe spaces. We need to reclaim those safe spaces, and we need to reclaim full autonomy of our body. Breastfeeding, and when we talk about revolutions and acts of like revolution and resistance, breastfeeding already is revolution within yourself as a Black woman. And if we speak it from that space, and like, sister, every time you latch that baby to your bosom, and not only are you passing nutrition, but you actually start to feel that oxytocin, that you actually have created that way to feel pleasure in that space, and then to shift this idea that pleasure and innocence can exist in the same space, honey, that not only are you powerful breastfeeding your baby, but you are sexy in breastfeeding your baby, because breastfeeding is on the spectrum of sex, which is why it's also kink, so you can enjoy it that way, and it does not make you a pedophile. It does not make you shameful. You are amazing and all that, whether you like it or you don't like it, feel the oxytocin or don't, it's okay. That is a variation of normal. And if we start speaking about those spaces that way, they are already revolutionary. You are already stepping into more of your freedom, because you deserve to be free, and you deserve to feel the full spectrum of pleasure in every space, whether it's a woman or a mother. And that's it.
Girl! Woo! You see how my mind got blown completely by this human being? I really want to appreciate every word that you just said. The piece about boundaries with love, the piece about pleasure in breastfeeding and mothering, and all of it. Keep speaking it. I am so tickled that you walk the earth. It's wonderful. Does anyone have any questions for Ashley?
Yes.
Like to say responses?
I guess I can always check the chat too. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. One says, oh my God, I don't eat with my kids, and I didn't think about it as an act of self-care, but it's so true. And I'm thankful for that reframe and not feeling guilty about it. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, you're like, who's got time for, I'm hungry. I can't show up for you if I'm hungry and you guys are still bothering me while I'm trying to replenish my body.
And that's the thing. I mean, then at the end of the day, I love how you had said many times, you take care of yourself, and then you have more to give to your babies, and you have more hugs, more love, you are more available. But, this being, we don't have to die on the cross. Those of us who are Christians, Jesus already did that, so that nobody else has to do that again. That's why that happened, right? Yeah. So being on the cross for your children, that's not the way to go. That doesn't make you a good mother. It makes you codependent, and it sets you up to be abusive.
Yes. Like we're running the short fuse. You don't have to run the short fuse, and you don't have to meet these expectations that society says that you have to be or do, especially as what like white systemic society racism has told you that you as a Black woman should be. You most certainly don't need to show up for that. We have to completely sift out of that and reclaim that information, that right to be autonomous to our own bodies. Like we have that. And to separate ourselves in this space, to compartmentalizing ourselves and to feel like we need to put pieces of us here, that is a coping mechanism to trauma. And if we look at that, then we can sit there and say, hey, what can I do? How can I love on myself some more so I can be oneness with myself, so I'm not projecting that space in my motherhood, right? How can I feel more good about myself? And sometimes that's saying, what kind of sophisticated help do I need? What can I talk about? What are the safe spaces that I can talk about these things, that I can assess the trauma, that can even acknowledge and become aware of it? So I'm not like mad all the time, like I don't want to be mad all the time or triggered every time I nurse my baby. And if I am triggered in nursing my baby, what steps can I take? Like, are there psychologists that deal with breastfeeding and mental abuse or sexual abuse or physical abuse, right? Like where can I go? Because I want And not only do I want, we need for our Black babies to continue to have this elixir of life. And I call it that because that's what it is. It is the elixir of life that is enjoyable in every space, as a man, as a woman, as a child, right? As a person who got pink eye, as a person who got eczema, as a person who's got an ear infection, as a person who likes the kink. Like, it is thebomb.com, and nothing about it is nasty. And if we shift the eye perspective about what is nasty, was it nothing about it is nasty, and nothing about you lactating is nasty, because you are not nasty, and you are not ugly, and you are not beneath, and you do have value, and you are worthy, and you're a goddess, and you are the first people. So like, people are always like, oh, Ashley's on that white people shit. I'm like, no, sister, Ashley's on that original people shit. And that's what you need to know about yourself. And so you can tap into that divine right to be the amazingness person that you are.
We love you. We love you. Where can we find you, connect with you? Are you doing classes?
I love all the beams. I'm such a beamer. And I just see Laura like being like, ah! I love beams. Like, I'm always like, yes, like, because you can feel it, and it's so intentional. It's so intentional, and I feel so good. So thank you, sis. You can find me everywhere at Ms. Wright's Way. That's MSWRIGHTSWAY. I'm going to start putting in more courses of this, because people are just like, please talk about this more. We need to get these messages out there to be in oneness with ourselves, so we can have oneness with our community and our children, so we can keep raising audacious children that feel confident and can continue to move forward. And also, I do have a book called A Time for Presence. It's a children's book. I'm currently out, but I am restocking. Print is currently in, and it's about basically in a time of cell phones and TV and things like that. And it's a story of how Shannon taught me another lesson, where I went to the park, and she was adamant that I play with the park, because listen, we tired, right? When we go to the park, we be like, live your best life. I'm gonna sit right here on the bench and scroll social media. So this was a lesson on presence, and how that created this synastry, and that moment to just be in how we all, like, I benefited that from more than I thought she was benefiting from it. So those are for sale. And yeah, my website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is all at MsRightsWay.com.
I'm so, so grateful that you gave us your time today. Outstanding. And you dovetail perfectly into our next beautiful speaker. Please stay with us if you can.
Yes.
And look forward to staying in touch with you, girl. You rock.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you for having me today. And I hope that I gave you guys some good stuff.
Very, very, very welcome. So I want to thank folks that have registered for this wonderful festival, and for folks who have given donations. This is a free event, but you know, we're always trying to get some money so we can help some folks. And right now, as we speak, we've got about $200 in contributions that have come in during our time together. So I'm super, super grateful, and I wanted to put that out there. Our big thanks. You know, we can help our families get an acupuncture treatment. We can help our families that need some groceries. We can reimburse a doula who's taking care of a low-income family for her gas, because she ain't getting paid for taking care of those clients, but she could at least get some gas money. So that we will make that $200 go a long way, and we're really super, super grateful. So thank you for that. So our next amazing speaker is someone I love a whole lot, and one of our amazing Bay Area birth worker goddesses, Tanifer Kamara. She is a lactation consultant. She'll give her full resume in a moment. And she's a new mama again, for another beautiful time. I'm so happy to see her and her beautiful newborn son here. I'll let her introduce him and then say whatever she would like to say. Welcome, Tanifer.
Thank you for having me. This little boy, he just wants to eat all the time. But this is Isangu Fakanda Kamara, and he's 2 weeks old now. And he acting like I didn't just finish feeding him.
Oh, look at you.
What's the matter?
I just want to eat and eat and eat. That's all I want to do all day long.
And I've been feeding myself while feeding him.
Good.
Thank you, Ashley. Everything you said was just so phenomenal, so on point, and just so real, and what we need to hear, what the masses need to hear more often.
Yeah.
And a lot of it are definitely things that I live by, that I practice as a mother, especially as a mother of 4 now. So a little bit about myself. I'm Tanifer Lumakanda Kamara, from Oakland, California, lactation consultant, birth worker, postpartum maternal healer. And I've been doing in this work of birth work and maternal healing for like the past 14 years. And over time, my practice, my philosophy, and everything has just, evolved and matured. Learning not only just from my own personal experiences, but learning from working with community, learning from just every source. There's always somewhere and something to learn new, and each experience with each of my children has given me a different perspective, or maybe not so much a different perspective, but just really gave me a little bit more personal experience into certain things. This time around with this child, I was very intentional in choosing to have a home birth, choosing to birth with Black midwives, a Black doula, to really document this experience. And this was a decision that I made prior to COVID. But once COVID-19 kind of took over, it definitely solidified and just let me know like my energy was moving in the right direction, because I was already starting to feel like just really reevaluating what was important in my life and what I really wanted, and wanting more time to dedicate to not only myself, but also to my family. And so things kind of happened a lot differently than I would have imagined. But COVID has been both a blessing and a curse, so to speak. And not necessarily so much of a curse, but it's changed the world and changed the way that we move and the way we do things. But through that, I was able to reach out and connect with a lot more moms, doing virtual consults and supporting a lot more people in their own breastfeeding journey. Also, while I was building up to my own journey this time around. I don't know. I didn't really have any specific topic in mind to talk about today. But I want to share with you all a little bit about my birth this time around and what happened after the baby was born, and because it's something that is very common, but is very much misunderstood and also mismanaged a lot, especially in the healthcare system. So I had a beautiful home birth. I have really fast labor, so I was in labor less than 2 hours. Pushed my baby out on my living room floor early Saturday morning of August 15th. And it was pretty, yeah, everything went well. Everything went smooth. Like everybody who was there that needed to be there was there. My husband was right there to catch the baby. My midwives, my doula. I had a photographer as well. So at some point, maybe I'll share those pictures. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Um, but so everything went well with the birth. That day, it was like extremely hot. It was really hot that day. And normally in the traditions that I was taught, like a mother should stay warm in that postpartum period. But it was so hot, like I didn't even want to have clothes on. Like I don't think I even put on underwear or anything. Like I just put some pads down on the bed and just, would change the pads because it was just too hot. And the baby was nursing, but it was weird because even though I had breastfed my last child, who's now 5, she breastfed until she was 4. I didn't have any milk in my breast, like during the pregnancy. Like I couldn't squeeze out anything. Even after the baby was born, on the left side, I couldn't squeeze out anything. And I'm known for being able to hand express and get milk out. Like I always joke and say I can get milk out of a brick wall. But I could not hand express a drop from my left breast. And I was starting to just get like some glistens of colostrum from the right. But I wasn't at all worried. I just kept putting baby to the breast because I knew the more that he suckled, the milk would come. And it did. And he was definitely getting something. He was getting a lot more than what I could get out. Peed and pooped. Actually, no, he didn't pee for like the first 24 plus hours, but he definitely had poops, which I was like, okay, that's fine. His stools, his bowels are moving, something's going through. The next couple days, he continued to feed. My milk began to transition. I never say milk comes in. A lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, her milk hasn't come in yet. And the milk doesn't come in. The milk transitions from colostrum to mature milk. And I always tell people, like, colostrum is milk, okay? It's just a highly concentrated form, and it's very specific to the newborn's needs. So it is milk. Milk doesn't come in. It just transitions and becomes more hydrated. So if you think of it like a syrup or something that you would use to make like a punch, and then you add the water to it, so that's kind of what happens. So just letting the baby nurse as much as he wanted to. By the next day, my breasts were already starting to change and fill, and I was starting to produce more milk. By day 3, he started to look yellow to me. And I was just looking at him like, he looks a little yellow, but I'm gonna just keep feeding him. By then he was peeing and pooping regularly. Midwife had seen him. Actually, he had been seen every day of his life between day 1 and between birth and day 4. And so I was just like, well, I'll just keep feeding him and we'll go out and I'll put him in the sun and get some sunlight on him. But by day 4, I noticed that he just seemed a little bit more lethargic. He would still eat frequently, or, about every 2 to 3 hours or so. But I noticed like he just had less energy and he would sleep longer. And I remember he had a really big poop, and he didn't wake up. Like, it didn't bother him. Like, he just was sleeping in a big puddle of poo. And I was just like, this isn't right. And so as I was cleaning him and wiping his leg, I was like, gosh, his legs look yellow. And at first I was wiping and I'm thinking, maybe it's the poop, because it was kind of yellow by that point. And I'm like, No, his skin is pretty yellow and his eyes were yellow. And in darker skin, more melanated babies, sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult to see jaundice in them. But if you look in their gums, inside of their mouth is yellow. It may look a little yellow in their gums. So if you're having a hard time trying to figure out, is this baby jaundice, and they're a little bit on the darker side, then also look into their mouth and see if you can see yellowing in the gums. So take off my mommy hat, put on my clinician hat, because now I'm looking at him like, okay, what's going on? You're feeding well, output is great, but you look significantly more yellow, and your demeanor and body language and everything is just changing. And so I figured this might be an issue of a blood incompatibility was a possibility, but I didn't know his blood type, but I know my blood type. And so I called the pediatrician and asked if I can bring him in to get his bilirubin checked. And we got there just in time before the clinic closed. They did a blood test, and we found out that he had a really high bilirubin level. And then later that night, we also found out that he has a different blood type, which they call ABO incompatibility. And also he was Coombs positive. So sometimes when that happens, it means that the baby is more likely to be jaundiced and have a higher bilirubin. And sometimes no treatment is needed. Sometimes baby just needs to keep feeding, and and they'll monitor it. But if it gets too high, then they want to do phototherapy. So because of the ABO compatibility, I'm an O positive and he's a B plus. Our blood cells, so babies naturally break down red blood cells after they're born. This is a transition from coming from the womb and now producing their own blood. So this is a normal process, nothing really to be alarmed about. It releases a little bit of this bilirubin into the blood, and babies get a little bit yellow. Most cases, nothing to worry about. Keep feeding the baby. But when a baby has to go in and get treated, a lot of times, this is when breastfeeding gets derailed. I read a statistic that said black women are 9 times more likely to be offered formula to feed their babies than white women or any other ethnic group. And this is one of the main reasons why a lot of babies will be offered formula for jaundice. And formula is not a cure for jaundice. Formula doesn't necessarily make it go away. And formula, it's nothing magical about it. And even babies who are formula fed can develop jaundice. So he was very jaundiced, and he needed to be in the NICU, which I wasn't too happy about because I wanted to avoid the hospitals at all costs. But I wanted my baby to be okay, because I knew that if it got too high, I knew that it could possibly be dangerous for him. And so I took him in at day 4 of life. So he got phototherapy in the NICU. I breastfed him, just as I would at home. They do like to keep the babies under the lights and try to restrict how much time that you can actually feed your baby. But I found that there's a lot of things that you can do and keep the baby under the light while breastfeeding them. And having worked in this hospital, like I've seen a lot of mothers breastfeeding just go off the rail with the NICU admission. Like you know, they're told so many things that are wrong, that aren't evidence-based, and really are just unsupported. Like once a baby goes into the NICU, it's uncharted territory, and a lot of parents feel like they have little control. But my knowledge as a lactation consultant, but also just knowing the pediatricians and being able to kind of talk through the plan with them, I was able to continue breastfeeding, and also find ways to keep him under the light even when I needed to take him out to breastfeed. Because all of those things, those lights and things, they move. So I realized that there's this pad that they lay on, this UV light pad, and you could actually lift it up out of the that hospital crib thing. And also the lights that are over him, you could move them over you so that you can feed the baby and still have the lights on you. So I was doing that, which I realized that it's not a problem to do. It's just that nurses like their convenience. They like things convenient for them. It's not necessarily about you. It's not necessarily about your baby. It doesn't take a whole lot of energy to move a light that swivels from the left to the right, but still, for some reason, they just don't like to do things that they perceive as an inconvenience. Not an inconvenience at all. Matter of fact, I was like, I'll put the lights right back for you. So that was our little detour from our lovely home birth. But it definitely, even though it was something that I've always been very knowledgeable about, it definitely helped me to be able to advocate for other parents in a different way, and talk to people about jaundice and what to look for, the signs and symptoms, and also the different types and different kinds there are. But that was in the first week of life, and now we're home. We've been home for a week. Because of the blood incompatibility, he still does have a little bilirubin still in his system. It's kind of just plateauing at this point, but it's not at a treatable level. So he's fine. He's good. Yeah. Any questions about that?
Well, first, let's thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing your precious postpartum time with us. So that's the sacred time after you've just given birth, and what grace you show in dealing with that bump in the road. I know it was not, you weren't that graceful in the moment. I'm sure you were upset and feeling all kinds of feelings, but the gifts of being an experienced mom is that we learn to roll with the punches.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I'm definitely learning this time is, like, with my other babies, I didn't really honor my postpartum period like I should have. When I had my third child, I tandem nursed my daughters together. They were 20 months apart. And so I was home with a newborn and a toddler. And I had, I think my son was like in second or third grade at the time.
Right.
But so I didn't really get to honor that postpartum period then. And then with my first two, I was just younger and felt like, oh, I feel good. Like, let me go out and do stuff just because I felt good. But this time around, I'm definitely like listening to my body, honoring this postpartum period. I spent time in Morocco last summer just learning about the Moroccan tradition around postpartum healing, and just have continued to learn about the African American traditional healing practices, foods and herbs and things. And so just that experience of having to go into the NICU, going to the hospital and back and forth to the clinic to get baby checked took a little toll on me. So I had to kind of slow things back down. But now, like, you know, I'm just like allowing for others to take care of me. I'm telling people what I need. You know, even if it's just having my kids be my little servants. My 5-year-old, she gets so mad. I don't really care. She can huff and puff all she wants, but I'm like, go get me a fork, go get me a napkin. Like, I just send them to go and do stuff while I just sit down. Because somebody got to do it. And I'm like, no, this is my postpartum time. And I've had several conversations with them before the baby came and leading up, you know, to that point. And still I have to talk to them and just let them know, like, you know, mommy's still healing. They want to do all these things. Like, my daughter wants to do tie-dye and, you know, and they want me to play with them and they want me to do all these things and cook this and let's bake brownies. And I'm just like, no, mommy's still, I'm still healing from birth and I can't do all those things right now. And so I just have them help me get what I need. And I just been focused on feeding the breastfeeding and allowing my body to heal. Because at 38, fourth baby, it definitely, my body feels a whole lot different. And I'm just honoring this time and allowing love in, because right now it's not so much of self-care that I need. I mean, there's ways that I can care for myself, but I really need other people to care for me right now. I need other, you know, I need that healing energy. I need my energy restored. And so I'm not feeling bad about letting people know what my needs are and how I need them to show up for me. Because I just did a big ass job of, you know, birthing this amazing, you know, little boy into this world. And I need my restoration. And I can't give it to myself until I have the strength to do so.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And you deserve it, you know. So, you know, I would love to thank you for bringing another beautiful soul, Earthside. And thank you for being such a good example for the women you teach and the women in the community on how to honor the postpartum time and follow your intuition and know when it's time. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So, you know, you followed your intuition. You knew when it was time to check out the medical folk, and you still asserted yourself around making sure your baby got that breast milk. And it's the best of both worlds. When women are strong, things go well. It's my attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions for Tonifer? For feelings or comments?
Hi,
I had a quick-
Jennifer.
Go ahead, Jesselyn.
This is Jesselyn. I just wanted to thank you for reminding us that, like, some bilirubin's normal, some changes in blood are normal, and even like I know that you ended up taking your child in for some additional care, but I think even if that medical care is needed, sometimes parents who don't have that information, they get like a diagnosis with no context, and they think that their baby is so sick and their family has all this pathology, and they stress out, and that makes it so much harder to get out of the hospital and get back home. So I just really appreciate you reminding us, like, there are some physiological processes that we keep our eyes on, but they are a normal part of this adjusting to the outside world. And that's so important for people to here, even when they do need the extra care, because otherwise they blame it, they internalize it, and they're like,
Yeah.
my baby's sick because of something I did or something like that. So I just really appreciate that reminder.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, every time a baby gets readmitted to the hospital for jaundice, like mothers like are distraught, like they're crying, they're thinking, what did I do wrong? They're being told like your breast milk isn't enough. You need to give your baby formula, or they're told, well, you were starving your baby. And even if they aren't told those things, they just feel bad. And I mean, even I felt bad, even though I understood like what was happening, like physiologically. I just felt bad. Like, what if I needed to bring him in sooner? What if I got him here too late? And the pediatricians reassured me that, you know, he had just kind of reached the peak, and that, you know, he came in and got treatment right on time. But yeah, so there's a lot of guilt and self-doubt. And you know, I just want to share with moms, like, you don't have to feel guilty. Jaundice is a normal physiological process, and we just watch it and just see where it's going. But it's not our fault. Like, it's nothing that we can do, and actually it kind of needs to happen. And certain people just are at risk of having more of it than others. So yeah.
You know, and that's just the thing. If everything was not presented as such a terror,
Yeah.
you know, normal is a wide range of things. Like, I also am a type O positive mama. All my babies were jaundice, and I fought to get them out of the hospital. And I would bring them in every day to have their bilirubin checked. I took them home and breastfed them and sat in the sun with them, and everybody was fine. So, you know, but I shouldn't have had to fight. You know what I mean? And so if we can just be given, that's why I approach all this stuff about our bodies. This is a human rights issue. We have the right to know all of these things about our bodies. We have the right to not be terrified of our bodies and how our bodies operate, or be ignorant of those things. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
And what we're going to do right now, I'm making an executive decision, because Laura was going to speak and then I was going to speak, but then I asked Betsy to come back so we can have music for the latch on, because we have, to my knowledge, one actively lactating person here, and that's Jennifer. You got a minute of lactation to share for the latch on there, Jennifer? Not to put you on. Watch, the baby doesn't want to eat now. Watch, he's sleeping.
Sarah, yeah, I can also come back. I can also come back if you want to wait till the very end.
The very end, after the latch on, we're going to be wrapping up.
Oh, so you want to do the latch on now?
Yeah, because we're
good.
We're
Great.
good. Is that okay with you, Jennifer?
Putting Jennifer on the spot here.
I know.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. But I was saying he just
fell asleep.
He just went down. He just went to sleep.
Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is we will have. Oh, we do have a lactating person here. That's yay! We have we have an awake lactating person in this room.
He's asking for it too, and I've been like, now.
So what we're gonna do now is our lactation. And what that is that folks who are lactating, or who babies are awake, get to breastfeed for a minute. And we're going to have some beautiful music given to us by Betsy. Can I have one of my beautiful assistants time and minute when I say time? And the rest of us, we're going to send love and light and the best wishes to breastfeeding, chest feeding, body feeding parents all over the world, milk sharing parents, adoptive parents, all those folks who are doing what they need to do the best they can, sometimes with no help or encouragement, to get human milk into their child. So we want to send them our love and and encouragement, and and parents who are breastfeeding under conditions of war, where they have few resources. We want to send them our love and strength too, and pray that governments wake up and actually take care of people for a change, so that those parents can actually do this simple thing. It should be a simple thing to birth a child and breastfeed. It's, you know, it's exciting in its own way, but it shouldn't be the trauma that it is due to conditions of uh, corporatization, colonialization, white supremacy, racism. We know the bag of horrors that are affecting people all over the world and keeping them from being parents that they want to be to their kids. So we will have a minute to shed some, you know, some mommy somewhere might be thinking about stopping breastfeeding. So we hope that our good wishes reach her and heal her heart today. So let's start a minute.
I wrote this, and it was inspired by the first mom. I worked as a postpartum doula through the Homeless Prenatal Project, and learned so much from her. Baby mine, I want to give you everything. I don't have much, but I got my heart. Baby mine, we'll make it through somehow. We're off to a good start. We're off to a good start. I want you to know that I always wanted you. Times are tough. I barely have enough. But I've been strong for a long, long time. I know how to stretch a nickel into a dime. Baby mine, baby mine, we're doing fine. I want to keep, oh, sorry.
Was that a minute?
Oh, should I go on? Is that enough?
No, it's so beautiful, but let's stop there for this point. We'll have you come back and do the whole song the other day. But big love to you. Thank you, Betsy. If you need to go, you get to go. If you can stay, you can stay. We love you and we thank you.
Love you all. This is beautiful, and I'll come back if I can. I got to go
I
sing
would
some
love
more.
it. I would love it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, gee, that was just so moving. It's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful moment. Thank you for being there. Thank you, Ashley, for breastfeeding your beautiful young one. Thank you, Tanifer, for continuing to be our Bay Area breastfeeding goddess. You know what we didn't say, Tanifer? We didn't talk about your practice and your group. You have a minute to pop on and just talk about that so people know?
Let me unmute. Yeah, so I do a late night infant feeding support. It's called the Midnight Milk Club. You can join the private group on Facebook if you know moms who need support. Midnight Milk Club. We do a virtual Zoom meeting Friday nights. Well, actually, I did one last night because Friday was my son's birthday.
Yeah.
But I'll update in the group, and just got some funding from the COVID-19 Birth Worker Relief Fund. So I will have some things to give away. And also, once I'm ready to start really supporting moms again, I'll be able to give some free virtual consults to moms who are in need of lactation consultation and support. So yeah, you can follow me there. Also, my business page on Facebook, TLC Consulting and Maternal Healing. After my maternity leave, I will return to full lactation and maternal healing. I don't consider myself a postpartum doula. I consider myself a postpartum healer, and do various different healing modalities for the postpartum period. And so you can follow me there. And on Instagram, I moderate and maintain the Breastfeeding Cultural Outreach Task Force, Breastfeed Oakland Instagram page, and my personal page, Urban Matriarch.
Thank you for all of that really good information. So refer your clients. If you've got a baby on the booby, definitely have them talk to Jennifer, because she knows what she's talking about.
Yes. And baby is asleep, and I'm going to go lay down with him.
Go sleep when the baby sleeps. That's one of the cardinal rules. Go do that.
Yes. And I got my water so I can stay hydrated too.
Good for you, honey.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me today.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we can't have a meeting today without, oh, hold it. We have a speaker. We have another speaker in the waiting room. Hold on, let her in. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okie doke. We have another speaker that has popped in, so that's cool. So while she's doing that and getting set up on the computer, I wanted to say, like, we can't have any kind of a meeting today without taking a moment to think about the loss of Chadwick Boseman. I have just been devastated by all of that. And to think that he had been going, I had no idea that he was suffering with such a health issue. And I think it's important to mention him during Black Breastfeeding Week, because one of the things I truly loved about the whole Wakanda experience was how much joy it brought to Black people. You know, it just was something that I was actually very ill when it was happening, when the movie came out, and I couldn't get to see the movie for a long time, and I was really upset about it. One of the things I really loved was seeing African American people dressed in African garb going to see this movie. It was a family event. It was grandmas and aunties and little ones running around going to see this movie and getting so much from it that I don't know even if the people who made it knew what it was. I from what I'm doing about the reading about Mr. Boseman, he got it. So let's hope that most people kind of got that they were giving this gift to the world. It wasn't just about superheroes. It was about Black people being superheroes under white supremacy, you know, and what that means when you're taught that you're nothing, and to be able to see an image of yourself and your people that's so inspiring and just so beautiful. So I just want to definitely, pray that he rest in peace and send our love to everyone who loved him, his family and friends, and certainly all of us that loved him as an actor and a human being. Wish him the very best in his belief system, wherever he believes his next step is. We wish him a good journey there. Hey, Miss Marna. So there's another one of our wonderful speakers who was able to pop in. That's great. I'm so glad you're in. Take yourself off mute, girl, because you're next. You're next. Very glad that you were able to be here. And so Marna is definitely beloved to me, one of my students. and has gone on to do amazing, wonderful things in the world. So I wanted her to come and talk to you about whatever she wants to talk to on Black breastfeeding, whatever you ever want to talk about, and also share with people. This is being recorded, so people who will see it later, share with them, you know, what you're doing with regard to birth work and how folks can get in touch with you and what you're doing.
Awesome. Good. I almost said good morning. I'm like so pandemic, I don't know, minded that I don't know what time of day it is anymore.
Yep.
But hello, everyone. Thank you, Mama Samsara, for the intro and acknowledging our loss. And I wanted to bring some excitement and some happiness too as we exit out of that, which is just learning, talking to you a little bit more. I'm like unprepared, but about just my experience, my first training and first experiences as a like professional doula came through Mama Samsara. And I got my first training on breastfeeding with Miss Laura here on the call. She's awesome and amazing. I remember every bit of it. And I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned through my experience with Mama Samsara and with Oakland Better Birth and through the breastfeeding. I love, love, love to, when I work with my clients, I think I have around, I was calculating it in my head, probably about an 80% or so or better success rate of all of my clients initiating breastfeeding and continuing past a year. For those of you that don't know what I do, I am executive director with Sister Web in San Francisco. So we provide doulas to people of color in San Francisco, our Black, our Latinx, our Pacific Islander moms. And I'm really excited to do this. It's my joy and my ministry. I love every bit of it. And we actually have 100% breastfeeding initiation rate. So I'm really excited about that.
Very good.
Yeah, so, you know, I think about this, the joy that I have. I'm so grateful to have learned through Oakland Better Birth about the importance of breastfeeding. It's like, you know, coming in as a newer doula, I knew of the importance of breastfeeding, but like the details and why it was so important and understanding about, you know, suckling and getting the colostrum, all of the stuff, like I learned through my classes with Laura here. She is amazing. I wish I could just pull her out my pocket anytime I want to talk about breastfeeding and just say, let her go. But it's because of this class and learning here and through the experience and having a really an entertaining and really educational experience. I was able to capture the information. Like sometimes you go to classes and you can't capture it. And it was just wonderful to learn in the environment that I learned in with everyone. I remember Jessalyn, I think we were in the class. I mean, I know you've taken the class probably 35,000 times by now, but you know, I remember all of that and sitting there amongst people that I felt safe and secure about learning and being vulnerable, really, about learning about, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't understand. I didn't understand about people having breast trauma. There was just a lot of just different intricate nuancy type things that I was like, wow, I never considered it. I never considered that thing and how it shaped how I think and how I work with my families that I work with and how I've even, you know, spoken with the doulas that I'm working with about how I learned and what I learned. So I'm really glad that I had the experiences training and learning under Mama Samsara the way that I did, because it led me to where I'm at now. And I never could have imagined that I'd do something like this, but I'm so grateful. And, you know, there's lots of pieces that started in many areas to lead me here, but one definite place was having worked with Mama Samsara and working with Oakland Better Birth, and the skills and the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that she just holds in her brain and shares out of love with everybody. Like I can't, it's immeasurable. I can't speak more highly of you, Mama Samsara. So I'm so grateful. And the trainers that you brought, like Laura, like you brought a number of beautiful, wonderful trainers that taught out of the passion, you know, of their heart. It wasn't just the knowledge. They definitely had the knowledge, but it's the passion that brought to me all of the ways to make it work. You know what I mean? Like, it's not till you get into it with the mom who can't latch, the baby's kind of not doing what, you know, whatever, it's hurting, whatever, that you're like, okay, let's think really creatively. What can we do? Let's get some more help. Let's try this position. Let's see, let's look for the little bird thingy, and you know, all of the stuff, the tongue ties, everything I learned in the class. And so I'm so grateful just to have had the experience here. And I'm honored to be on and to even have a little bit of time to speak. So I don't have much else to say.
Tell us about Sister Web, Boo. What is Sister Web doing? What do they do?
So Sister Web, we provide community doulas, community-based doulas in San Francisco. We're very specific to San Francisco. You know, there's many reasons why. Partly it's just hard to travel outside of different cities and travel city to city. But also there's a equity piece. There's a reproductive justice piece of, you know, there's a piece of like our dwindling Black community in San Francisco. And I'm a native San Francisco person. So, you know, I love my city. I am, like they say, loyal to my soil. And there used to be a time where there was a lot more Black people in my community. I could remember going into the Mission and going into the Fillmore and going even into District 10 in Bayview, where, you know, a lot of the homes, they were just owned by, there was Black and brown faces in them, walking out of them, that owned them, that occupied them, and that's like gone. And I feel, you know, part of my little, you know, revolutionary thing is to increase my, the native birth in San Francisco, people of color. That's just my own personal thing. But it's also important because we want to have more people of color in San Francisco. We've been pushed out, and birth is literally a way to bring them back. So I am excited to be a part of that. I started really with working with just, you know, a small little number of people saying we wanted to do something, not sure how we wanted to start. And, you know, as fate would have it, I've been blessed to just run into a lot of places where they were like, well, we see that you can do this or that, or we see your, you know, professional experience. Can you handle taking this on? And we were like, yeah. We didn't even know what we were doing, but we were like, yeah, because we want to get some doulas paid. And even that alone was learning through Oakland Better Birth about really asking for your worth, you know, being trained, being skilled, and asking for your worth. And the only problem that we come across a lot of the time is that working with communities of color is that they don't have the money. And so it ends up being kind of this dilemma is how do you provide service and how do you pay doulas to do that work that they're trained, specially trained and skilled in providing. And so I was trying to figure out a way to answer it. I had gone to a very long birth. I was tired. I was like at my wit's end. And then I had a 24-hour PG&E notice on my door.
Dear.
And I lost it. You know what I mean? I literally was like, I can't do this. I'm going to have to give up the one thing I really love doing. And that's what fueled my passion, in addition to birth work itself, was that, you know, there are lots of people out here who want to get paid, but they can't get paid. So let me figure out a mechanism to do it. And that's when my skill set kicked in. I'm a second generation entrepreneur. I've run businesses for over 20 years. And I'll find a way to monetize whatever I can. And it just so aligned with my spirit to do birth work in this way. And I think that once that aligned and it became like my ministry, and, you know, I fully accepted what it is that I need to do, everything else came. And that's the only way I can explain it, because I couldn't have done this by myself. You know, I have awesome people that work with me. I have awesome, wonderful mentors on this call with me. And I'm just grateful to do it. I'm grateful to be able to do something that affects my community in a positive way. And I'm grateful that I'm given the voice and the privilege to speak in the rooms and offices and meetings and all of those things that I could be in, because I get to have that community voice. I get to have the community voice of my own lived experience, and I get to share the community knowledge of why it's important to have a doula and someone there in that you know, intimate time, that transitional time of pregnancy and childbirth, and how it can make a difference long-term in all of the other things that we're seeking to change in our cities and in our communities. And it could start right here with the easy solution. And then I asked for the $1 million. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm ready to ask for the $1 million. I haven't asked for the $1 million yet, but you know, really it's that passion. And I think that because I was allowed the spaces to have the feeling to open up my heart to what this really meant and what it could be, that people are receptive to what I'm saying. And so that started here. So thank you.
It's an honor to have a role of any type in your journey. And I'm really happy for the moms in San Francisco that they get to get good doula support. And I'm very happy to have you here, and wanted to honor like our ability to, you know, reach out across the bay to each other. And you've done a really sweet job of being in touch with me, letting me know of resources that might be of support to OBBF. So I want to thank you for that a whole lot. We want to keep doing that cross-pollinating and keep our mamas covered, you know. So
yeah, I've referred some over to you. I don't know if they turned into clients, but I have, every time, if anyone's in the East Bay, I'm always like, you know who I know who I will send you in. Call this lady. She will help you. So I love that, although we're not in the East Bay, that we can I can in my heart send someone to someone else that I know will care for them. So I'm grateful to be able to do that.
thank you. That does mean a lot, you know, because we love our folks. We want them to be well cared for. So the feeling is mutual, very much so. And thank you for being with us on Black Breastfeeding Week. We'll have you come again. Come again. You got muted again, Martin. I don't know how that happened.
I think someone muted me. I don't know what's happening.
Oh no, what happened there? We don't want to mute you. Anyway. So does anybody have any questions or comments from Marna? Two. So thank you, my love. Please feel free to hang out, and if you wish. And Sister Web is sisterweb.org. We worked that out over the phone the other day.
I don't know. I didn't have my glasses on. I can say.
I was like, what's your website? And I was like, oh, look. It was because, you know, org, com, net, we don't know. Anyway, we worked it out. Sisterweb.org. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ms. Laura Cox, unmute yourself.
Oh my goodness. It's good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
And for all y'all on this call, I really cannot emphasize enough that we are just truly in the presence of greatness today on this Black Breastfeeding Week. It is. I've been following Miss Wright for, I can't even tell you how long, and Tanifer, and to see Myrna and everybody, I'm just gonna try not to get too teary-eyed and just share how it is just a mushy, and again, not to be nervous, because I am in the presence of greatness along with, of course, Samsara. It is an honor to be here today. I just want to share very quickly how I work with the Oakland Better Birth Foundation. I am a mom and a person. I'm a person and a mom. And I have a 10-year-old or almost 10-year-old, almost 8-year-old. I've nursed them both until for 5 years total. And it was in that experience that I got into lactation. And it is with lactation that I got in connection with Samsara, and have been doing it now for almost 10 years. Yeah, I've been teaching lactation with the Oakland Better Birth Foundation. I teach with Samuel Merritt. I teach with Cornerstone Doula Trainings, and I'm now hopefully teaching with UCSF. I am currently a UCSF student. I just finished my pre-licensure nursing program and will be going into my master's program in October. So lots of stuff. But that's a little bit of a background. I've been teaching with the Oakland Better Birth Foundation for quite some time, and it is a great joy and a pleasure and an honor to be able to teach lactation. I'm very passionate about it. I love it a lot. It's one of my most favorite things to talk about, and I will talk about it at any given time, at every moment. Parties, let's talk lactation, let's talk stages of lactation, let's talk about how you can support a boob near you. But it has been a pleasure and an honor. And so with the breastfeeding festival here in Oakland, like we said at the very beginning, it's our 6th year going into it. Been working really hard with it, and it has always been every year such a joy. And I learn so much every single time. Yeah. So thank you so much, Samsara. Thank you all so much. It's such a pleasure to be here and see you all. Thank you so much. Again, and honor and presence. Wow, just amazing.
Yes, yes. Another year, another breastfeeding festival. Yay. So this is a very sweet one. It's very dear to me. It's our COVID festival. I'm hoping very much next year that we're able to go back to being somewhere near our beloved Lake Merritt without fear of dying from a horrible virus. That'd be nice. But I think that we've done really, really super well. And I feel very happy about everyone who spoke, and I feel very happy for folks who visited. And I saw people kind of pop in and pop out. It's fun kind of watching the screen, seeing who's coming in and who's going out. And the bottom line is that, you know, we want to get human milk into human beings. We want to get human milk into human babies. And we want to make it okay for that to happen. And the way to make it okay is to have a safe world, have a world with abundant resources, have a world where everyone's needs are met, so that this basic biological thing of nursing a little mammal at its parents' breast would not be such a big effing deal, you know? So we want to, you know, again, I'm always reminding mamas or breastfeeding parents that your body is not at fault. Breastfeeding is hard, not because your body has anything wrong with it. The society that we live in is crooked and screwed up. And so that ends up with you not having the knowledge or the support that you need to do what should be as easy as breathing. And when you get the support, the vast majority of folks who get the appropriate support, like they've talked to Jennifer, they talked to Laura, they talked to me, then I could send it to, I know a wealth of things too, although I'm not certified in anything lactation, but certainly 41 years of helping people put babies to the booby count for something. Find folks like us who don't think you're crazy and who help you feel good and proud about your decision to give your milk to your baby or get human milk into your baby, however, whatever works for your family. So with that, I'm going to wrap up our beautiful time together. And I'm going to give thanks to everybody here who's been here for this whole time, almost 3 hours. It's almost 5:30, so we're pretty good. I want to request for folks who can't, please feel free to make a contribution to the work of the Oakland Better Birth Foundation. You can do so by going to our website. We have a nice new donate button on the website, so I'm just feeling all special about all that. So just go right to the website and make a donation if you would like. Feel free to check us out on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. This presentation will end up there once it finishes processing later on. So all y'all get to be famous. All of you guys, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. After we get over 1,000 subscribers, who knows, we might be able to get monetized for people. They'll put ads in the videos and then we get revenues for that, and then we'd be able to use that to help the work that we're doing as well. So that's a good thing. I know we hate commercials, but until we get rid of capitalism, that's what we got. Love, light, and joy to all of you. Peace and baby blessings to all of you, and see you again next year.